Hi, thanks so much. Many thanks again to Veterans for Growing America for hosting us at the Mental Wellness Symposium and Community Rally for our displaced federal workers here in Prince William County. We're at the Stonebridge Town Center, once again at Veterans for Growing America. We've collaborated with mental health practitioners, employment law attorney, we'll get to him in a second, and a workforce development firm, really thinking holistically about how we're approaching and being supportive to the displaced federal workers who are unfortunately taken asunder by DOJ. But I want to bring it over to you, Mr. Hogan. Talk a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself, of course. Talk a little bit about the work that you do, your firm, how long you've been doing this, the whole deal.
Okay. My name is Martin Hogan. I'm a partner at Hogan and Pritchard PLLC in Fairfax County, Virginia. Just for informational purposes, 4104 Chainbridge Road, Suite 300. Our office number is 703-359-1000. I've been practicing law for over 33 years. My partner and I litigate all cases in federal, state, and local courts. And we also argue before the EEOC, administrative bodies, arbitration, grievances, and things of that sort. Also, I should say, since most of the federal workers out there, I grew up as a military brat, so I'm very familiar with that life. And since I live in Arlington, again, many of our fellow citizens and neighbors are federal workers.
So, listen, what immediate steps should persons who are experiencing separation from their federal agency, what immediate steps should they take as they navigate this experience?
Yes, Christian. I suggest maybe about 5 things. One would be polish up your resume with all your work experience in the federal government. If you don't have one, create one. The other thing that's critical is thinking broadly about beyond the borders of federal employment. So you have these skills and abilities, where else can they apply to? State and local governments need people who have the same type of positions. And so it's important to do that. Also, private sector, you should think about that as well. So you want to think broadly in your job hunt. And that way you will apply for a broad number of employers rather than too few, or thinking someday that you might get back into the federal government. Another thing is you can work as a 1099 contractor work individually or with a contracting firm. And also, it's important to gather all your documents. You should know everything about your federal employment. When you started, your offer letter, your first position, your increases in pay and promotions or transfers and things of that sort. Anything that might be in your SF-50, you would want to know about that. The other thing, you want to have all applicable retirement documents and knowing which plans you have. And also, you're probably able to consult with those people and make sure you know your rights writ large as far as retirement go and benefits, even though you're leaving. And remember, I should stress, one size does not fit all. I mean, you have some employees that are at the beginning of their employment, some in the middle, some at the end. So the needs are going to be different, or where they are in their career. Some people might want to retire right away and then go take another job. I'll give you a very quick example. I had one consultation with a gentleman who used to be in the Marine Corps. He was in the Marine Corps for about 8 years and then was a forest park ranger. And then he worked in logistics at Alexandria recently, and then was RIFT. And so he decided to retire because he had the time in, and he was going to apply for jobs in the state and local government in Columbia, South Carolina. And he and his wife are going to go down there. So he had a plan. But again, every one of your plans or situations are going to be different.
What are some of the most common misconceptions or risks, particularly legal, that people that are experiencing separations or know someone that's going through the separations? What are some of the most common risks and misconceptions that are floating out there?
Yeah, I think number one that you need to come to grips with is that the vast changes in federal employment have changed, and you should assume that they're permanent because that's the only practical way to handle that. And so you shouldn't sit around thinking, well, if I wait long enough, I'll get my job back, because you're losing time there. And so I think that's the most important. You need to be brutally objective and realistic about where you find yourself, and then you can take actions to address what you need to. Now, with respect to, I think Christian has asked me before about legal rights or steps that you can take if you feel, let's say you've been discriminated against or you've been fired, riffed, and you might have some type of legal recourse. I need to divide the world in federal sector employment between, unionized and non-unionized employees. Unionized employees, there are many federal government unions. American Federation of Government Employees, the National Treasury Employees Union. There's a Association of Federal Services, Service Association for Foreign Service Individuals. Many of these and all these unions have what we call collective bargaining agreements. In those collective bargaining agreements, which are contracts between management and the union, are grievance procedures. So if you can avail yourself of that, that would be fine. Also, know that in the media, certain unions have actually sued under specific statutes. Now, category 2 would be non-unionized. What options do you have? Do you feel like you've been discriminated against on the basis of race, sex, color, national origin, religion, disability? Then you could file a charge of discrimination with the Equal Opportunity Employment Commission. You can go online and find that information, and it's divided between public sector, which would include federal government employment, and then private sector. Remember, in the public sector, you need to initiate EEOC proceedings within 45 days, and there's a lot of tiny and multiple deadlines that you would have to follow. In contrast, private sector, there's 180-day statute of limitations or window in which to take action, or 300 days if you're in a deferral jurisdiction, which means a state that has local human rights agencies. Number 2, if your claim does not deal with discrimination, if it deals with violations of policies or laws, then the Merit Systems Protection Board is the place to go. You can look them up and see all the steps there. Again, they are focusing on policies and laws dealing with federal sector employment, which generally are non-discriminatory, like those you would find under Title VII of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. A fourth area would be whistleblower cases. There are about 23 statutes that the Department of Labor manages, if you will. And so you would want to go to a specialist in that and see what that type of allegation would involve. Usually it has to do with violation of a statute and then also waste, fraud, and abuse that the employee can specifically point to.
Excellent. Lastly, go ahead and give them your contact information once again. I want to make sure that people know where to find you, because you've been doing this for 30 years, as you mentioned. You're a tremendous asset to anybody who's having this experience and needs legal representation. At what point in their experience should they contact you, and where can they find you?
And Christian, that's a great question. Look, all attorneys and law firms are best when you contact them as soon as possible. Puts us in a position to gather all your facts and to be able to design litigation that is taking legal recourse from the outset. And it's critical to do that because, again, I mentioned before, there are certain windows in time in which you need to act. In legal parlance, those are called statutes of limitation. If those windows close, your claim's out the window no matter how good it is. So earlier rather than later. I did give my firm's contact information earlier, but online at hoganpritchard.com, you will find a contact us form that you can fill out online. That way our paralegal, Kathleen Brown, can arrange those and schedule them.
And they're responsive, by the way. I contacted them myself. I can speak to them.
Yes, and if we have a flyer here. I don't know if you can see it, but Christian's, you can lift it up a bit. There you go. All right. So anyway, it's been a pleasure being here today. You can see we've been having a good time.
That's exactly right.
We enjoy the cheering whenever it happens.
Ladies and gentlemen, Martin Hogan, thanks so much.
Thank you. So do we have sound?